Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful day. I am so excited that we are in part three of the Workplace Wellness series with Cindy Smarsh, who is the CEO and founder of the Kindness Principles. And today she's going to talk about something that is not only important now, but it's one of the leading topics coming up in the future for good leadership, first person leadership. How you are affects everyone underneath you and how they affect everyone underneath you. So you're the tip of the pyramid. And so she's going to give us some tips about how to maintain the best possible first person leadership. So here she is, our favorite, Cindy Smarsh.
I'm the favorite. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Sally. Thanks for having me and for doing this series. I hope that it's affecting corporations everywhere. So today I want to tell you a quick story about my own life and then introduce the concept of first person leadership that I have developed and discuss three ways that you can really demonstrate that in your organization starting today. And then I'm going to explain a bit about the business initiative I am on right now and give you an opportunity to receive my exclusive guide that is loaded with strategies on how to take first person leadership and then incorporate it into your teams and organizations to really help everyone thrive. So that's where we're going today. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we will address those as they come in as well. So thank you so much for being here. So it was when I was in my mid 40s that I really started to understand that I was disappearing in my own life. I was over functioning at home. I was over functioning at work. I was over functioning in my children's schools. I was saying yes to everyone and everything. I kind of jokingly say, but in all seriousness, I became like a living, breathing bobblehead, just saying yes to anyone who asked me to do anything. I was on boards in the community I was living in, was volunteering in several ways at a church. I was the club volleyball coach, and I'd never played volleyball. I was a Girl Scout leader. I mean, I was the executive director of a nonprofit counseling center where the expectation was I would have a full client load of counseling clients and do everything else to run the center. In other words, take care of the staff, work with the board, do all the fundraising, all the grant writing, all of this, all of that. And at the same time, I was saying yes to a marriage that was very difficult. That was very, very difficult. And so I was over functioning literally everywhere and kind of getting lost in the shuffle, saying yes to everyone else and not saying yes to me. Well, finally, as I saw myself spiraling down, I knew I needed to change. And I attended a private retreat with Jack Canfield. And one day we were sitting in a mastermind experience and we were taking turns sharing our dreams with Jack and telling him all the reasons why we were not going for our dreams. So, in other words, giving him all of our excuses for not going for them. And I was one of those included. And when I was going down my list of reasons why I was not going for what I really wanted in my life, he turned to me and he said, Cindy, it is your job to live your life. And I don't know if you've ever had one of those moments in life, but this was one for me that it was like the clouds split open and, it was like, it was like, oh my gosh, I need to take the leadership of my own life starting today. And that, my friends, is now what has evolved for me in business, what I coin first person leadership. So I went home from that retreat. I started making some serious decisions in my life where I was saying yes to my absolute yeses and saying no to my enlightened no's. I was beginning to um, really filter through the noise of my life and line myself completely up with my own value system and understanding like how to show up 100% authentically as myself. And as I took that leadership in my own life, I became a better leader at work and taught my team how to be leaders in their own lives, and how that has a wonderful trickle down effect to the mission that we were all doing together. So today I want to, long story short, my life is amazing since I took full responsibility for it. And that is the first way that you can demonstrate first person leadership, because first person leadership is saying, I am in charge of my own life and I am a leader in this business or organization. And so the buck stops here, right? I am responsible. I take 100% responsibility for my life and my work. And that may sound very simplistic, or like it doesn't mean much, it's just fluff, but it isn't just fluff. It's when you take it seriously, what you're really saying is that you're done blaming and you're done complaining. And that may sound like an impossible feat, but let's talk about this for a second. Because every time we blame a circumstance or another person, we are giving our power away in those situations. When we're pointing our fingers out this way, we're really saying, I have nothing in, I have no skin in this game. I can't do anything about this. And that is putting you in a position of powerlessness. And that's not being a leader. Leaders don't do that. Effective leaders don't do that. Same with complaining. If we just sit around and we complain about this and we complain about that, and in life, we might do that about the weather or the economy or the this or the that. Or at work, we might complain about this coworker, or we might complain about, whatever, last quarter's results, or whatever we might be complaining about, the lack of time off, overworking, whatever it is. If you just complain about it, again, you're giving your power away. So taking 100% responsibility for your life is saying, I'm in charge of myself. And I'm going to be intentional every day with the choices I make, the things I say, what I do and I don't do, and all of those things, and staying really conscious and self aware of that. So, again, let's just not waste time blaming and complaining. If you're unsatisfied about something or something's ineffective, that's, of course, we need to look at those things, right? We need to look at those and go, okay, where can I make a difference in that aligns with who I am in my life and in this organization? And what is something that is outside of my wheelhouse that needs someone else's attention or some other way to be attended to? So you do want to focus on where you have the ability to make a difference. You do want to align your choices and actions with who you really, the essence of who you really are, right? Who you are and what you're passionate about. And another way to demonstrate first person leadership is to build your confidence level, constantly building your confidence level, right? Because the more confident you are, the more effective you're going to be. But we want confidence with humility. So we want to recognize our strengths and really, capitalize on our strengths, and then notice where we have growth opportunities, because we've all got them. I've got them. You've got them. We've all got them. And give ourselves opportunity to nurture those skills, those qualities that we want to develop within ourselves to be even more effective as leaders. Part of being first person leadership too is self-care. You hear this all the time, so you're probably like, boring, but there's so much truth in this, because when you take care of yourself as a part of your umbrella of being a first person leader, you are taking care of literally everyone else by doing that, right? Because when I was showing up as the executive director of that counseling center, exhausted, depleted, depressed, frustrated in my life, overwhelmed, how effective was I? I mean, I think I pulled it off enough, barely, to keep it all going, to keep the engine running, but I didn't have a lot of capacity to show up for the team as effectively as I would have liked to. I didn't have the bandwidth to serve our clients as much as I would have liked to either. Just getting by is what a lot of people are doing out there in the workplace for lots and lots of reasons, of course. So, but self care is one of the answers to that. It's one of the answers. And so, keeping your own rest and relaxation, your joy, your play. How many of you play ever? Play. Be adults that play. And then keeping a balance in your life of work and other things that are important to you, whatever that is, whether it's the people in your life, other organizations you're involved with, hobbies you enjoy, your own health, whatever your own health and wellness plan is for yourself, keeping those things front and center. And with that, you must stop over functioning. Over functioning is, I know a lot about that because I did it, and it enables people to under function. And that throws everything off balance everywhere, at home, at work, everywhere. So you want to make workplace well-being a priority for everyone. And again, it starts with you taking responsibility for that within yourself and demonstrating that, modeling that, and setting the best example of this. Okay, so that's one tenet of first person leadership, taking full responsibility for your life. The second one I want to talk about today, and there's many of these, but we're only going to do 3 today, is to handle challenges well. Handle challenges well. Of course, you're a leader. You're gonna hear it all. You're gonna see it all. You're gonna be dealt with have to deal with things on in every area, every day, of course. And of course, it's there. Your life is full of challenges in and out of the office. But leaders stay calm under pressure. They stay calm. They don't disengage. They stay present and calm under pressure. And you acknowledge when a problem has risen, and you recognize that something needs to be managed in some way. And so you put your energy in how to be more productive or how to respond in the most productive way to things that aren't going well. So some questions you can ask yourself so you don't hide or just give up or run or pretend it's not there. I hear about leaders all the time who are just, putting their head in the sand, doing the ostrich thing, I call it, is you can ask yourself, what is this? What is the actual problem here? What's the problem? And what is my best response to this issue? Remember, you're the leader. Everything starts with you. First person leadership is saying, what is my best response to this issue? And what is this challenge here to teach me? Now, that's an interesting one, right? Because everything that goes on is feedback for us, right? So when we have a challenge, it's feedback. It's not failure. When something goes in a way you didn't really want it to go, it's a feedback system. It's your built-in feedback system. So you want to catch it. You don't want to miss the feedback. What is this challenge here to teach me? And how can I become stronger as a leader in this experience? That doesn't mean how can I become a more demanding leader? How can I be more harsh? How can I criticize more? That's not what I mean, but rather be a stronger leader where you really step into your confidence as a leader, your ability to have a higher vision for what's going on, than maybe the average person would have, and begin to put systems in place to address whatever this is. So remember again that nothing is failure, that everything is a feedback system in your organization. Everything, the things that go well, just like you want them to, and the things do not go well. So do stay calm under pressure. Do maintain a feedback versus failure attitude. Like, we want people to work in places where mistakes are safe to make, because we're all human and we're all going to make them, right? We're all going to make them. Leaders too. We are too. We're going to make them. We're going to make big ones, what we might call big ones sometimes, or small ones, but we're not going to call them mistakes at all from now on. We're going to call them a feedback system, right? So making it safe for your people to make mistakes, learn and grow from those things, and then redirect to a more productive path, and become a problem solver, letting go of anything that is no longer working. Notice what's no longer working. Declutter always in the systems you're working in. What is not working here? What initiatives aren't producing what we want them to produce? Or how can we tweak the things that we're doing to get the result that we actually want? And then remain persistent in addressing the issue, and then thrive on your own energy. Remember, you're keeping your energy up because you're caring for yourself well, and showing up for yourself really well, so you can show up for the team, especially when things haven't gone the way everybody was hoping they would. So whatever you do, do not hide or give up on a situation. Show up confidently and calmly, and with that great attitude of, okay, here we are, we've got some great feedback here on what we were striving for there. Now what is our next best step? So the third way to show up and demonstrate first person leadership is to communicate effectively. Communicate effectively. I mean, of all the skill sets in life, of all the skill sets in life, this one is the most critical to help you create everything that you want personally and professionally. And so you want to really grow in your effective communication. There's We could go on for days, weeks, months on this alone, because a lot of us were just not taught well how to communicate. Most of us were not around people that had been given a good, strong skill set in communication. And it's something that needs to be practiced and practiced and practiced. We can't just like read about it once and then do it. Usually, most people, right? So it's a continuing growth opportunity for most of us. So one of the biggest ways that you can communicate effectively is to be quiet and listen. Even though you're the leader, even though you may feel like I should always have the answer, I should always have a response, I should always have a solution, I should always know what to say, be quiet first. Seek to understand before you seek to be understood. Because those that are working at all levels of your organization, they all have a viewpoint of what's going on. Everyone has their own experience of what's happening, or what may have been effective or not, or ideas around it. And you have brilliant people working around you, and you want to make sure that you're hearing what they have to say. It doesn't mean you have to agree with everything they say. It doesn't mean you have to follow through on everything they suggest. I'm not saying that, of course. That's not a realistic plan in most organizations, but you can always listen. A friend of mine is a COO in a corporation here where I live. And when he took that position, his boss said to him, someday all you're going to do is listen to people all day long. And he didn't believe him at first, but now that's exactly what's happening. He's listening to people most of the day. And there's lots of reasons for that, of course. But people need to be heard. That's one of the biggest drivers of loyalty for workers in a company, is feeling like they are heard. So you want to listen actively and often. I like to see leaders speak language of certainty and commitment and assurance, not what I call tentative language. Oh, I'll try, or maybe we'll get to that, or I'll get around to that, or that's interesting. Da 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 da. We don't want to be tentative in our language with people. People feel secure when we're transparent, even if they don't like what we're saying. They feel more secure when we're transparent and we have a solid response to something. And so I wouldn't speak until you have the language of certainty that you're ready to speak to your team. And then constantly share the clarity of purpose. Constantly use mission language, purpose language. If you don't have this in your organization, it's a connecting point for all employees and departments and teams. What are we all here for? What are we all striving for together? So you want to use that unifying language. We're all in this together. This department over here in this corner that nobody ever sees must exist, or this can't happen over here. So everybody's important and they need to understand that. And so keep bringing people back to a clear understanding of purpose and mission and the values of the company, and that will help in the overall effectiveness as well. So know what you believe and be able to articulate that at any time. Be enthusiastic and passionate when you're communicating with the team, and always praise others and give credit where credit is due. Always. You want to communicate that often. Celebrate people often, share appreciations often. There's not much you could communicate more important than how much you value your people and what a great job they're doing, or how much you appreciate whatever they've done recently that's really made a difference, and kind of thing. So again, the number one driver of loyalty, according to the work of Matthew Champagne, who's done tons of research on this, is they want to be heard. And the second driver of loyalty is they want to know they've made a difference. And so when you communicate effectively in these ways we've talked about, you are directly addressing those two of those strongest desires that the research says employees have. So I am on a mission to teach kindness initiatives in business, not as fluffy, nicey things, but rather as highly effective, powerful business strategies to create workplace well-being for everybody and drive collective success. And so this is why I have started to do these series on LinkedIn. And I have a guide that I have created called Using the Kindness Code to Achieve Strategic Outcomes for Workplace Well-Being. And what the Kindness Code is a system I have created to help companies incorporate all kinds of initiatives that help create higher productivity, better retention rates, lower absenteeism, higher morale, greater job satisfaction, greater life satisfaction, greater work-life balance for everybody in all aspects of the organization. And the research, there is so much research backing these initiatives. So in the guide, you will find numerous strategies to incorporate the kindness code in your organization. You will be given tons of research that I've found that backs up these kinds of initiatives, and 5 questions to ask yourselves that will help you create positive change in your organization. And so if you would like to receive this guide, it's free. I just need you to DM me on LinkedIn. Look for Cindy Smarsh on LinkedIn. And all you need to do is give me your email address and the kindness code, or say something like, I want the kindness code, or I'd love your free guide about the kindness code, and give me your email address and I will send you that guide personally. So that is what I have for you today. Do we have any questions in the chat, Sally?
I was going to unmute Tammy. Tammy might be I don't know whether she's at her desk or working or what she's doing. Just to follow up with Tammy. Tammy's from New York City.
Oh, hi,
Um,
Yami. Thank you for being
Hi
here.
there. Good morning. Good morning. I think hearing this came at the right time. I think
Mm.
my own sort of leadership style has been a little bit more stoic, keep calm and carry on. And
Yes, yes,
and
it's
I think,
good.
in a world, beset by AI and a lot of other different changes, um, I think I need to moderate that or improve that. I still want people around me, especially the ones who are reporting to me, to be calm and feel solid in my leadership. But I definitely think I need to show my empathetic self a little bit more.
Mm. Oh,
And
yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you, Tammy.
and just, um, I was gonna say be more authentic. I don't know if you can be more authentic, but just kind of more lead with my heart, which is,
Yes.
where the empathy is a lot more visible.
I love everything you're saying, Tammy, and I fully support you in where you're going with this because what's especially, and I love that you mentioned AI because it is a fantastic tool that's changing how we work as well and everything, which and can be used in such positive, wonderful ways. And we are human beings. And there is no tool in AI that's ever going to replace the presence of a strong, calm, empathic leader like yourself. Never, never will it. And people are hungry for real connection. There is a hunger out there to have real connection. And it doesn't mean you have to wear your heart on your sleeve at work and come in and cry if you've had a bad morning. It doesn't mean you have to do that to be authentic or kind, but just being Tammy, like being who you are, being approachable, being your kind, caring self. I mean, I'm sure you have a lot invested in this company that you work in, a lot of your heart and soul and passion. And I hope that's getting through to those that are working with you and that they know that you see them. You know, the kindness code is it's an acronym, and the K is know your team members, like really know them. Now, if you have 10,000 employees or something. I understand that's that's a greater challenge, but how can you have all team members be truly known for who they are in the organization, not just for what they do or the results that they get or whatever, but how can we really know our team and acknowledge them as people and not to forget that. And then the bonus K is keep communicating, which I talked about some and which you've certainly addressed yourself. Are there other things that have come up for you today or any questions?
No, but it makes me think, never before have we asked people to react to change in such a quick fashion. And
Mm.
so, change is always hard,
Hmm.
but change every month or every week
Yeah, constantly, right? With technology
is
and
crazy.
AI. It is kind of crazy, and we can like get overwhelmed. And then when people get overwhelmed, they shut down, right? They check out because they can't take all the fluidity going on. And so the fact that you recognize that is so fantastic because then you can be sensitive to, how they're tracking the change, how they're flowing with it, and what could come along with those technical changes that you're asking people to make that can support them in managing change. Because as human beings, of course, we are wired to resist change. Our brain goes into
Hmm.
fight, or flight or freeze when because it equates change with danger. Something's different. Oh no. And it gets people all stressed out. And so again, that calm, confident leadership feeling, when you can show up and say, these are some changes coming. I recognize this is not necessarily what everybody wants, or we're not sure how it's all going to all going to pan out. It's okay. We're going to take this one step at a time together, and we're going to learn because we have a feedback system here. There's no failure here. There's feedback. So go with me. Let's go. Let's take it step by step and see how we can evolve with the changing system that we're working within.
Definitely. I think I was realizing that, for my people, um, resistance I'm used to, and I have the playbook for that. It's paralysis that's new to me, and getting people on the bus.
Yes, paralysis, exactly. Yes, they freeze because they're so scared. So yeah, so what have you found that helps the most when you find team members in paralysis? Is there anything that's worked so far?
Acknowledgement of, the sometimes it's the elephant in the room. Yes, this is crazy. Yes, we're asking more of you than ever before.
Mm-hmm.
And just sometimes, identifying, hey, I noticed that you weren't your normal self, or you didn't have any questions. You always ask questions,
Yeah.
or
No.
I noticed that you're hesitant about X, Y, and Z, and sometimes that's enough to kind of
Yeah.
break
Yes.
through.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
and then just listening to whatever the concerns are, and whenever I can, addressing them. And
Yeah.
sometimes I can't. Sometimes it's something we're all dealing with, and yeah, we all feel unsettled and uncomfortable.
Yeah, I love that because what you're doing there, you're acknowledging them and you're reflecting back what they're experiencing. And so they feel heard, they feel seen, and you're not losing your mind when they're doing this. You're
Hmm.
showing, oh yeah, I get it. I feel it too sometimes, and we're gonna get through this. We will find our way together. You sound like a wonderful leader.
It's funny because previously in my career, I always knew I was one, and one of the things I had to deal with was that it's kind of like I don't have children, but sometimes you have to push the kids out of the nest
Yeah, oh,
and
for
say, yeah,
sure.
yeah, I know you like working for me, but
Mhm.
you're stalled. You need to move to the next step, and helping people who were comfortable where they were,
Yes,
you
yes.
know,
Mhm.
um, move on to the next step, get better, try new things, and it was, I was remember talking to my mom about it, and she's like, yes, you have to, encourage people to take the next step,
Yeah.
um, be the person that they were meant to be.
Mhm.
It,
Yeah, I
what is it?
love
Newton's
it.
first law, that law of inertia, bodies at rest tend to stay at rest. And, get people to realize that, when opportunity knocks, you have to open the door,
For sure.
and so that was a, an interesting challenge, I guess.
Mm.
And I would tell people, hey, I'm hiring you, but I expect to promote you or, help you move to somewhere else in 2 years. And, so don't get comfortable and don't think that this is a reflection of I don't like you. I really like you because I want the very best for you.
Yes. When I was doing research for all these kindness initiatives and things that I've been developing, I found that the company Chick-fil-A, who, which I haven't paid attention to at all. I'm not a big, fast food person or whatever, but I found out that they, of course, a lot of their employees are young and maybe it's their first job even, but the
Hmm.
company has a value of nurturing, creating great employees in those employees of theirs for their future jobs. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is so brilliant. And I know you're saying what you're saying is very much the same thing. You want to nurture your team members so they can advance within the organization. if that's appropriate for them in their lives, if that's the best way for them to stretch and grow, you want to nurture and support that. And also, I hear you saying, hey, if you're here, if being here holds you back from what you are capable of doing or what you want to focus on or what you're more passionate about now, I want to launch you out there in the world to be you, wherever that is. And that is very selfless and it's highly effective, because what you do not want are people who feel stuck or who have no passion for what they're doing and so forth, and who feel like they're not growing. And so, even if people think they don't want to grow, actually, we are wired for creativity. We are born as creative souls. And when we can get comfortable stretching ourselves, the possibilities are
Mhm.
endless. And I'm glad you know that.
I sort of stumbled onto part 3. Is there any way I could watch like part 1 or part 2?
Yeah, for sure. We have replays of those. I think we still have those, don't we, Sally?
Um, they are on, they're all on your channel on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Look for Cindy Smarsh on YouTube. The Kindness Principles.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be there. They're they're each a little different, but there is some repetitiveness in them. But they each have a little bit of a different angle to them, and this one was a whole different piece. And then we're going to have another one next month, but we haven't decided on the topic or the date yet. Is there any topic you'd really like to see me address specifically that would be meaningful for you or your organization that you can think of?
The biggest thing for most companies right now is, the change management part
Mm,
of AI, and I know that my company's not different from most others dealing with it, and also the fear that, the machines are taking over,
right.
and
You won't need
and,
people.
or, AI will take your job, and
Yeah.
it's more likely that not, well, AI won't necessarily take your job, but a person who knows it and who's mastered it will.
Mm,
So that is something that
hmm.
my company's very focused on, and trying to upskill and reskill people.
Yes. Oh, yes. Very good. Well, listen, I know we're running out of time. We've gone over a bit, but I really appreciate the conversation, Tammy. And will you find me on LinkedIn and send me your email address, and I'll get that guide to you. And gosh, and then of course, yeah, please look on YouTube if you'd like to see the first two
Mhm.
master classes in the series. And feel free to contact me anytime with questions or more dialogue about this. I
Sure,
hope,
thank you. And I look forward to part 4.
yeah, thank you. So thanks for being here. And Sally, thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
As usual, did you pay Tammy to come and say those things on this
I
broadcast?
I
Because
didn't.
she is so spot on as to corporate America. I'm thinking like, whoa,
Well,
this
she's
is
living it.
exactly where we're all headed. We've got these looming AI, initiatives, but we also don't necessarily have the soft skills to bring people along with that. So it's not either or, it's both. So Tammy, that was a great insight. And yes, you are a true leader because they've become the babies you didn't have. You've nurtured them, and you're kicking them out of the nest. And I just one question for you: who nurtured you? I bet it's your mom.
Yeah, when people ask, well, who's the person you respect most in the world? I kind of have to go back to my parents because I think they did a pretty good job with 4 of us. And, I think I bring a lot of those life lessons into my work, and I think it's made me a better person and a better leader.
Awesome.
Wow,
That's
she
amazing.
kind of sounds like some podcast material to me.
I know. I was thinking that too. Tammy, I have the Kindness Principles podcast I'm going to launch very soon, and one of the things I want to do is interview leaders who get this, who actually get this, and are living it day in, day out. So I don't know if you're open to that kind of thing, but I'd love to stay in touch with you about that if you're open to it.
Sure, sure. And I will make sure that I connect with both of you on LinkedIn.
Fabulous. Well, Sally,
Wonderful.
we can't see you either. I don't know if you want to get back on video to say goodbye or not, but it's good to be with you both today.
Here I is. Here I is.
There he is. Usually
Yes.
the dozens and dozens of people that, I don't know, we had 70 registrants last month and none came. The first time we had how many, and 2 were here, and now good old Tammy showed up and we had, I don't know, 55 registered or something.
Well, they're also busy people in their
Oh, I know.
corporate world,
Oh,
and they're waiting for us to send us this replay so they can put it on their headset and pretend like they're doing something and listening.
okay. Well, thank you, ladies. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you so much, and thank you so much, Cindy, for this is such a wonderful intro into the world of how kindness really makes a huge difference.
Oh yeah, it's the answer. It's the answer.
Thank you. Take care.
You too, Cammy.
Thank you.
Bye, Sally.
Bye.